everyone, and you're going to be recording, and you're going to take care of all the buttons tonight. So appreciate you very much, Mario, and I'm going to be quiet until you get everything started. We're about to open up the call here officially, and we got quite a few participants on the webinar, but we have also people calling in. Anyway, look forward to it. Thanks so much for everyone joining us.
Thanks, Jeff. Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're ready for another exciting call tonight. This is Mario Brown. I'll be your moderator tonight, calling in from Highland, Utah. And I do know we have a lot of guests tonight joining us from many areas, different countries as well. People from Latin America, Asia, all over the U.S., West Coast, East Coast. And so we're really excited for this call this evening. I do want to remind you that this call is being recorded, and it is available on Jeff's YouTube account and also will be posted on his Facebook here pretty soon. Jeff is actually calling in from a hotel room in Georgia. He's on the road, so we apologize for his lighting. It's not great tonight, but always good to have him. Thanks, Jeff. He's glowing on the side there. Well, good. Well, we're especially excited about tonight. We have a dynamic duo, husband and wife team, Travis and Summer Flaherty from Arizona. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
They are top leaders, have been top leaders in many different companies and been very successful in the industry. And I'm going to have Jeff explain how they know one another and just the experience that you've all had together. But just so you all know as well, I've known Jeff for many years, and for the new people, I've known him for 15 plus years. I've traveled the world with him. I know you all have too. And he's been very instrumental because my history is with corporate. You know, I've been doing that for the last 15 years, and I've worked with the top distributors, and that's where I got to know Jeff. And he really stood out, and we started to work together. And recently, I've switched from being corporate, now doing the business. And so Jeff has been a huge mentor and a huge leader and very instrumental in that whole process. But I'd like to turn the time over to Jeff and get started. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about tonight. And once again, Travis and Summer, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you very much. We're excited to be here.
Thanks so much. Now, as we go into our course, as you know, every one of us that are joining in as participants, we thank you for being part of the participants of the Sustained Prosperity System. And the reason we call it the Sustained Prosperity System is obviously because those of you that are watching the screen right now, you're seeing Mario, you're seeing Travis and Summer, and you're seeing me. And we can vouch for what I'm about to say. There's been a lot of feast and famine inside of the network marketing industry. It's like a leader will go to the top, and then all of a sudden you'll see this leader struggling. It's feast or famine. So the reason for the name of Sustained Prosperity System, it's not about just prosperity system. It's about sustaining your prosperity. It's not only about achieving your prosperity, but it's also about maintaining that leadership rank, maintaining your rank within your company, maintaining your success, doing the right activities to get you to the correct success level. Now, I'm as Mario said in the introduction, I'm in a Podunk hotel up here in North Georgia right now. If you could see my setup, it would be very comical. I have a chair sitting on top of a bed with my laptop in the chair, and I'm standing up so you can't see the rest of the room. There's a reason for that. At the same time, I have two fluorescent bulbs screwed in here on the wall with no lampshade on it. And the reason there's no lampshade on it is because it actually puts out more light without the lampshade. and I laugh about this because Travis Flaherty is one of our guests, him and Summer, and absolutely, let me tell you, without Summer, I don't know what I would do with this call, because I'm going to pick on her in a moment, but I'm going to pick on Travis for right now. Travis, you and I have been in a lot worse hotel rooms than what I'm in right now. And do you remember the hotel rooms down in New Zealand?
Oh, I do. I do.
I still have a comical picture of Travis pushing all of our luggage on this big cart through the airport down in down in New Zealand. We had such a great time in New Zealand and Australia and traveling together, and I have a lot of respect for Travis, a lot of respect for his abilities. And this is a good example right now. We're makeshifting. We're doing everything that we must do to be able to get the message out, to be able to lead from wherever we are. Network marketers enjoy life no matter what kind of circumstance it is. I stay in some of the nicest hotels in the world, and so does the ones on this call. But at the same time, we don't let anything stop us. I mean, we have been in some of the craziest places in this world. Some of us network marketers have. And Mario on this call can vouch for this as well. He's been with me to Moscow, Russia, in areas that would cause most people to go through anxiety attacks. And not only that, you know, I've been in places in the world where literally we went from place to place on horseback just to be able to get from one place to another. I can remember taking wagon trail rides to go from one place to another with our distributors in a company when we were in Hungary, you know, and getting given a hard time crossing borders between Hungary and Romania and some of the different places that we've been. But the beauty of it is this: why do we do this? Why do we go through all this? Well, the reason we do is because network marketing is not just a business venture. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle of adventure. It's a lifestyle of being able to get out there and experience things that we have no way of enjoying unless we were able to have the freedom of network marketing. So when we get off the beaten path, we don't always have to be in the ivory palaces to have a great time. I've had some of my greatest times in the middle of nowhere in Eastern Europe, in the middle of nowhere in Southern Japan, in the middle of nowhere in Russia, in the middle of nowhere in some of the areas of Mexico. Mario and I and some of our group, we went way down below Cancun, down into the Yucatan area, and got back and floating on some of these lazy natural lakes and rivers back into the mangroves until we came out into some of these areas where we've seen some Mayan ruins that most people don't get to see. The reason we're able to do this is because of the freedom of network marketing. Now, we have some great special featured guests tonight on our webinar with Sustained Prosperity System. And I'm going to pull something on you guys, because I can tell you, Travis and Summer, and it's funny, Cayman was on the picture there earlier, and I said, I knew you were before you were born, or before you were even created. And it's like we're all on that cruise, right? And and it's funny how that we look back and we have moments. And this is something I've been saying. I turned 56 this month, you know? 56, and I think, you know, I'm turning 56 and I don't feel one day past 30 most of the time. Sometimes I feel past that, but most of the time I feel about 30, 35, and I feel really good. I'm healthy. I'm able to get around better than most people half my age. But you know, when we look back from our experiences in network marketing, and I'm going to really pull from you two here as we go along. Our introduction of you is going to be all the way through the call. But pulling from you, isn't it amazing that once you reach a certain point in life, when you look back, you don't have memories that you really hold on to. You have moments. When you really look back, the things that stand out in your life are not just memories. It's creating moments. And when you truly arrive at that place in your life and you really understand how important it is, from a certain point forward, you're going to be smart enough to spend the rest of your life creating moments, not just creating memories, creating moments. That's why some people will frown on us if we go out. We've spent some money on some meals, haven't we? I mean, think about, you lay down $400, $500 for a meal, and you think, everyone thinks you're crazy when we do these types of things. But we look at other people that will spend the same amount of money on 20 meals, and they have no moments to talk about. They have no memories that turn into moments. But we can lay down a few $100s and have a great moment that we will remember forever because we're surrounding ourselves with fun and friends and good times. Now I'm going to pull from you here. You guys have done some amazing things in your life. You must be made out of armor and steel, and you must not be made out of human flesh. You must be coming from some kind of other planet, because I don't know anyone in the industry who has gone to several companies over and over that have made their way to the top of those companies, and then the company owners, maybe they make mistakes or they do certain things, then the company winds up selling to someone else or merging with someone else, and then all of a sudden you're just in the mix after you have built a company large enough so that a company actually does have a viable solution to sell or to liquidate. And you don't even know you're doing that sometimes when you're in some of these smaller companies that are growing. You become almost their pawn, almost their playing card, almost their ace of spades that they can do a deal with. Isn't it amazing? And I know I'm blunt on these calls because the reason I am, this is not a call. This is not a webinar for us to be fluff. This is a webinar for us to be blunt, straight to the point, and give network marketers that sometimes don't actually get the education they truly need to actually move up. We're going to give them some good, solid education on a weekly basis on these Thursday night calls. Travis and Summer, Summer, you are one of those women that have stood behind your men. I mean, my goodness, you stood by, and you are a couple that works together. It's not that you're just standing behind a guy that does network marketing. You do it as well. You're a superstar. You're not just a shadow. You're not just a comma at the end. You're not just Travis Flaherty's wife. You're Summer Flaherty. And I'm talking a bit, but I'm going to set a pace here. And I'm going to say this right before I hand it over to you as I drill you. Listen to this. When I was in college, I had a psychology professor. His name was Luther Painter, Dr. Luther Painter. It was his retirement year. He was going to retire. He had built up tenure, and the guy was just an amazing professor in the university that I graduated from. And the part that really impressed me was he told all the women in the class, leave the room. I want to talk to the guys. He said to us, he says, I'm about to retire. I'm about to close the door on all this teaching that I've been doing for many years, because I've been head of the psychology department for many years. And I'm having this opportunity of my life to feel important right here at the end while everyone is giving me all these parties and gatherings, and there's one big huge party they're about to do for me, and I'm really excited about it. Well, my wife and I, we were talking about it, and we were going shopping, and she was picking out clothes, and she was picking out her dress and picking out her jacket and her scarf and all these different beautiful items that she was going to dress up perfectly. And then all of a sudden we come home after all this beautiful shopping day. And then she looks at me. And by this time, Dr. Luther Painter had tears running down his cheeks. And he says, his wife looks at him and says, Luther, what will people call me now? And he said, what do you mean? She said, well, I know my name is Mary, and your name is Luther, and that's what we refer to each other as. But everyone knows me as Dr. Painter's wife. They don't know me as Mary. What will people call me now? And he had tears just streaming down his face in front of us guys, saying that really touched him. If Travis and Summer have done anything at all, I'm making a point here. This is a time of edification. Luther Painter, Dr. Luther Painter, looked at all of us in the psychology department, and he said, guys, if I can tell you anything at all, don't take the identity away. of your wife. She has her own identity. Don't take her identity away and take her away from being who she can become. He said, I realized at that moment, all those years I had taken Mary's identity away, and now she didn't know who she was. She knew who she was, but she didn't know how people were going to refer to her. And the one thing that I can truly say about Travis and Summer have been able to pull off this team effort. And we're going to really educate some people on this call tonight about how women can balance the bra with business. I'm being blunt. How women can balance the family with business. How men can balance the family with business. Because this network marketing business is tough on families at times. So how do you guys do it? Is it okay if I'm this blunt tonight and actually pull from you guys?
We wouldn't have it any other way. It wouldn't be a Jef Welch call if it wasn't. So I appreciate it. Thank you, first of all, for having us. And I just want to say that, Jeff's been a fantastic mentor to Summer and I, and a dear friend of ours for many years. And so it's great to be able to be here and have this conversation with you. And, I think that for Summer and I think the greatest strength that we can have is the strength of having a spouse that believes in you. And even coming into this industry, Summer will tell you, Jeff, that she didn't, necessarily believe in the industry, but she believed in me. And there's been many times throughout our career, we've had many ups and many downs, right? You live by the sword and you die by the sword as an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you that the greatest strength that I have been able to draw on is that belief, her belief in me. And that is one of the most important things, I think, when a husband and a wife or a spouse or a couple are doing this business together. There's many times where Summer's not on stage or she's not traveling, but she's still at home and she's contributing equally to our family, just making sure that the kids are taken care of. But I'll tell you, it's always been a great strength for me to know that she's been there to support me. So, and believe in me.
So Summer, tell me your side of that. We have a male perspective and a female perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we really do.
We've had a lot of ups and downs, and it's right. When Travis first decided that this is something that he thought he wanted to do, I was very skeptical. But the one thing, I've just always believed in him. I've always believed in us, and I always just felt that, my stepdad was an entrepreneur as well. So maybe that's why I felt this way. But I just felt like very passionate that everyone should have the opportunity to do something that they love and that they're passionate about. And I feel like I love being, I really enjoy and I love being a mom. You can probably tell that because I'm on baby number 6 right here. I love families. I've always wanted a big family, and I feel like Travis has always supported me in my goals and my dreams. And whatever I wanted to try. At one time, we had a rose business. We've always worked together. We've always supported each other. But when he decided to do this, it was something very different than what we were used to in network marketing. And I was skeptical, but I did know that this is something that if he was passionate about, that I wanted to learn more about. And I wanted to also be able to support him and support us. And early on, we both realized by being students of the industry that the most successful people seem to have a very supportive spouse, whether it was the woman that was mostly on stage and the husband was back home making supportive, because let's face it, most of the time when we get started in this business, not a lot of people have the luxury to go full time. So a lot of times that means either both of the parents are working, right? Or both spouses are working, or maybe one is at home working while the other one's out doing the business. There's different combinations that can happen, but the most successful people we've seen from our observation when we became students was the people who had the support of their spouse, no matter what the situation was, whether it was full-time, whether it was part-time, or one was home working, or if they didn't have kids, or if they were home with the kids. So we just felt like that was a very important factor and ingredient in becoming successful.
Yeah. Jef, I love what you said.
I'm going to, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I loved what you said about the professor and the advice that he gave you, one of the things that I've always done on purpose is you'll never see me say something about my business, or if I'm ever referring to anything, you'll always see me say, Summer and I are really excited to congratulate so-and-so, or our business. It's very important that, you know, when you want to make them feel included, even if they're not necessarily standing there on the stage with you, it is their business. And so it's always been something that I've tried to do is edify her on purpose in everything that we do. And that's something that's really been important to me. So I love what you were saying about that professor.
Now, Summer, if you had anything at all to say it to a lady that's new to network marketing, just now joining network marketing, she's been a stay-at-home mom for a while. She's been taking care of her kids. Maybe she's had a few jobs here and there, but she's been at home for a while now. Her husband has been bringing in the paycheck. And now she started a new network marketing company, and you're needing to give her some advice. If you were giving her any advice at all, what would you give her right now?
That's a loaded question. There's so many things that come to mind. But, you know, the first thing is I have spoken with a lot of women who have been in that situation, and I've observed a large majority have actually what you were talking about with the professor, have kind of lost their identity in themselves through their kids, just being servant leadership to their kids, because that's what mothers really are. They're serving all the time. They're serving their husband. They're serving their children. And sometimes it's easy as a woman to lose your identity in those. And so I would just say that you have to just remember who you are and remember the qualities that are about you that are outside of being a mother, you know, and outside of being a spouse, because it's very easy to do depending on how long you've been married as well. And just believe in yourself, because I mean, here you are. I think that sometimes people don't realize the power that women have as being, and the influence that women have as being a mother. You're raising the next generation, and you are such a huge influence in. They might be children now, but these are the generation that are going to be raised up, and they're going to be ruling the world. They're going to be the doctors, the lawyers, the presidents, you name it, of our world soon. And that's very powerful. And I think that sometimes people, sorry about that. Are we back? Sorry, we had a call come in. And so I think if they just change their mindset, I think mindset is so huge in believing in themselves. I guess that's the first most important key. Sorry about that.
Sorry, we're freezing up on you.
Sorry about that. So I just think that going. Go ahead.
Let me drive a question here, because I want to pull from you again. Psychologically speaking, and I see this happen in network marketing, the woman is not used to being the one who is making the money in a family many times. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes the woman makes more money than the guy. But we have a lot of situations in network marketing where there's an imbalance of securities and insecurities within the household, because all of a sudden the man feels like he's the guy, you know, he's bringing in the dough, and he's doing everything to take care of the family. And all of a sudden his wife joins a network marketing company, and all of a sudden she comes from being introverted to extroverted to outgoing to the point where she's a leader on the stage, and she has thousands of people in her organization maybe. Now she's making a lot of money, and attitudes change. Personalities change, because security levels and insecurity levels change, because we know that everyone's personality is based on their securities and insecurities. We talked about this last week, because when a person first gets together in a relationship, they think they know each other until they move in with each other, right? And when they move in with each other, it's like, oh my goodness, you know, this is what happened. And we're in a relationship marketing business. As soon as people move in with each other, it's like, okay, the toothbrush is, why does he leave it here? Or why does she leave all of her makeup on the counter? Or why is there hair all over the sink? And why does, when he knocks his toothbrush out, why is there clumps of old toothpaste laying where they're not supposed to? And why does she not leave toilet paper on the toilet paper roll when she gets done? all these different things that happen. Then all of a sudden you have interaction, and then everyone's securities and insecurities start blending. So the males' securities and insecurities start blending with the females. And where he's insecure, he may become more secure, or he may become more insecure. Same way with her. So as all these shiftings are going on, their personalities are changing, and they don't even realize it because it's so subtle, but yet so drastic. And then all of a sudden they look at each other and say, who are you? Who are you? Well, we see the same thing happen even after people have been married for many years. And then all of a sudden one of them joins a network marketing company, become an entrepreneur, right? You have this thing called entrepreneur life, right? So as you go into that entrepreneur attitude, that person starts escalating their security levels. When that happens, it threatens the insecurity levels of the person they're with. Travis and Summer, how will you, in your team, if you had a leader sitting in front of you, because we have leaders right here on this call, how would you relate to those people? Because you've been there, you've done that, you've seen people that have escalated out of their box, right? You're proud of them, but you've also seen the edginess that it causes. What advice would you give them to actually help get past those with their with the people that they're dealing with on a daily basis? Or would you tell them anything? How will you handle that? Because we're in network marketing. It's not like a business that's a bunch of corporate people. We can't just look at someone and tell them this, get your act together, shut up, and go to work. This is a relationship marketing business, right? This is a volunteer army. So if we're going to communicate with people, we have to talk to them almost like they're church members or something. We can't drive them. We can't grind their minds. We have to actually be good politicians as we're communicating with the people that are in our organization. So how do you deal with people that are going through major problems when you have a really strong leader? You know that you're seeing all these problems that are coming up in their personal life. How do you actually manage that without getting too close into it? What do you do?
Well, I think that the first thing is it's important to understand that with leadership, you can't mandate performance. You have to inspire it. And I think that a lot of times we, number one, try to be the best example that we can be to our leaders, right? Because people do what they see, not what they're told. And so I think it starts with us in our own actions and our own activities. But as you start to see leaders up and coming, sometimes you start to believe your own press in this industry. And I can tell you that to me, humility is probably one of the most attractive qualities on the planet. It really is. As I get older, maybe I've gotten kind of past my own, because I went through this whole deal, where you start to have a little bit of success and you believe your own press. And I look now, and the people that I admire and the people that I respect the most are the Jordan Adlers of the world and some of these leaders. To me, that humility is the key ingredient in great leadership. And so as you start to see some people wander a little bit, or they start to go through some of their own challenges, I try to teach through my own experiences. So I'll pick on myself. I'll maybe pull someone aside and I'll share a story, but that story will be about me and how I was my own worst enemy because I did this and this and this. And I try to use my own examples to hopefully inspire them and guide them, but I'm doing it in a way where I'm not coming at them saying, hey, listen, Jef, this is something that you need to do. Because to me, that's more of trying to, force someone to do something, but rather I just try to guide them through a lot of the mistakes that I've made. I made a lot of mistakes in the last 20 years as an entrepreneur, and I try to draw on those strengths and use those stories as my way of encouraging and guiding. And then of course there's always going to be, you got to give people a little bit of room to make their own mistakes, because that's ultimately when we grow the most, right? I mean, through through the trial and errors that we've had, that's ultimately where, I've come back and said, well, I'm not going to do that again. I've got to do better in those areas. And so there's certainly going to be an aspect of they've got to learn a little bit on their own too. But for me, it's all about leading by example, inspiring through performance, and using my examples to guide them subtly, if that makes sense.
It totally does. Now I'm going to switch gears here in just a moment, and we're going to talk about pipeline marketing. We're going to talk about funneling. We're going to talk about taking a lead and turning them into a prospect. I've been teaching the organizations that we've been communicating with, we've been mentoring. It's very important to build trust within the first few steps of your follow-up process, and then you can take them into the commitment stages, and then you take them into the confirmation of the commitment stages after that. So basically the way the system is working, and people that are on this call have been very familiar with it. The first 4 steps are about building relationship, building trust. If they already have trust in you because you're their friend or you're a relative, then you don't have to build that trust from that prospect to you. But you still need to build the trust for the product. You still need to build the trust for the company, for that prospect. That prospect needs to have trust to be able to move forward, to get to that place where they actually can be spoken to in a different way and talk to them more about commitment. Now, commitment is extremely important, and we know that 80% of the commitments that take place in network marketing take place between the 5th and the 8th step. There's a lot of 80% here. 80% of the people also join network marketing because it's an emotional decision. So if 80% of the people are joining network marketing because it's an emotional decision, but then 80% of the people join within the 5th through the 8th step after they have developed a relationship. It's also amazing that only 3% of the industry leaders get to the 8th step in the follow-up system. So that it's obvious that 3% are making 80% of the sales. What is the problem that you feel? Now, obviously, I think the 2 problems that most people have are rejection and procrastination. They emotionally can't get to that 2nd and 3rd and 4th step because they feel rejected. They don't feel as if someone is actually taking them serious within the first step or 2 because they're trying to get a yes too fast. So therefore, it's pushing everyone to a no too fast. Instead of them actually trying to get a maybe and trying to build a relationship, instead of actually trying to go for a good relationship, they're trying to sell. So they get rejection. So we know how to cancel that out. Procrastination, we also know how to cancel that out by teaching people very, very quickly right out of the gate what to do and being there for them and helping them get past those first milestones. It's important for everyone to hear from a leader like y'all that these numbers are very normal to have 3 to 5% making 80% of the action. Now, if that's the case, what are you doing? What do you do to actually change those percentages? Because even changing those percentages by 1 or 2% doubles many people's checks, correct? What do you do?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. So I'm gonna take you through a little story to answer this question. 2008, my wife and I lost everything. It was one of the most humbling experiences that we've ever gone through, and it's really what pushed us into network marketing full time. We got involved, and we had a little bit of early on success. We were able to go get quite a few people involved in the business. And then 90, 120 days later, Jeff, like I remember the feeling. I logged in and not one of them was on auto shipment anymore. Like they were all gone, and our check just plummeted. And so I did what any father would do when you have to provide for your family, and that was I went out and got a job on a sales floor. I hated it. I hated it. Like I was in a cubicle. I had to do work on a phone call all day long. I was selling coaching, as a matter of fact, for somebody by the name of Laurel Langmeyer, the Millionaire Maker. And I spent all day on the phone calling people that I didn't know, and you had to develop instant rapport. You had to understand what it was that they were trying to accomplish. And I did this for about a period of 8 or 9 months, maybe 10 months, and it really provided the solution that we needed for our family at that time. I hated it, but let me tell you what I learned. I learned how to ask questions and listen, and I learned how to identify where most people are dissatisfied in their life. I think that most network marketers today they're so anxious to want to go out there and sell and tell and try to convince people that their products and services are so much better than the rest. And the reality is when you're doing that, you really put yourself into a red ocean type of situation, right? If you've never read the book Blue Ocean, a red ocean is where everybody's fighting over, the same market share, right? It's like, 1,000 sharks all fighting over the same bait. If you want to just put yourself over into a blue ocean, what you need to do is you need to stop and you need to learn how to ask the right questions and need to identify where most people are dissatisfied, because everybody that we talk to, everybody that you come across with every single day, they're dissatisfied in some form or fashion, whether it's they don't have enough time in their life to do the things that they want to do. We know that most of Americans are living, paycheck to paycheck. Everybody has some type of a health or wellness goal in their life that they would like to achieve. And so if you can learn to ask questions, what it does is it completely allows you to move past that initial skepticism, because now you're making it about them. You're not making it about your company or your products. And so what we learned how to do very early on in our career, and it was because of that experience, was we learned how to ask questions, listen, and tell stories. Those 3 skills that's the key. And I very quickly, it was almost fun for me in a conversation to see how quickly I could get to the point where somebody was dissatisfied. Whether it would take me 2 questions or 7 questions or 9 questions, just by asking, how are things at work? How long have you worked here? Do you enjoy what you do? Do you plan on doing this for the rest of your life? Pretty quickly, you can get to the point where you find where someone's dissatisfied, and then you just become the person that says, maybe I can help. Maybe I can make life a little bit easier. And it's interesting because just by serving rather than selling, and that's the key, is when you're serving someone, it's about them. And they're more inclined to understand or listen to what it is that you might have to help them with, rather than if you're sitting there pitching them or selling them. So serving versus selling, I think, is probably...
And they feel a sense of trust that you care about their well-being.
Yep.
and their future. They feel like you're vested in what their goals and their dreams are for them. And it's not just about taking a credit card for what it can pay for, hey, I need your money,
Yeah.
I really like your analogy there, because that illustration says what we've been teaching. It's about that person. It's 100% about that person. Being a good politician. There's 2 politicians that walk into a restaurant. One politician just goes out there. He's running for mayor. He goes out into the restaurant and starts laying down his cards on each table. Hello, I'm Jef Welch. I'm running for mayor. Oh, please vote for me. I've done all these different things, and I've done this, and I've done that, and I've served on this board, and I've served on that board, and whatever. Okay, that's one politician that walks into the restaurant. You're sitting there chewing on your hamburger, right? And the next politician running for mayor comes in, and he walks in and starts shaking everyone's hand, laughing, having a great time, socializing, talking about the people that he's communicating with, and bringing out their beauty, bringing out their personalities, bringing out their interests, bringing out their accomplishments, talking good about them, making them feel good about themselves, sitting down at the table with you and looking across from you and saying to the person next to you, hey, do you know Travis? Me and him have seen so many different things. We've done this, we've done that. This guy, Travis, has done so many things to help our community. Travis, you have done so many things. I really appreciate everything you've accomplished for our community. Who are you going to vote for? Are you going to vote for the politician just laying a card down? They're saying, vote for me, I've done everything. And that's the way a lot of network marketers are. A lot of network marketers, it's all about how many badges they have on their chest, right? Or, I was joking right there. And
It's true, though.
Or is it about network marketers that truly are succeeding by building long-term relationships? I have relationships, and you do as well, with some of the all the top distributors in the industry, right? We all know each other. And I've seen other distributors and representatives or brand partners of whatever company, they never get outside their box because they're the king or the queen within their own kingdom, their own world, right?
Yeah.
And they don't mingle with people from other companies. They don't mingle with leaders from. They don't learn either, do they? They don't absorb. They're only surrounded by their echoes. Right? Now, what benefit do you see of the fact of not just relationship marketing, of how we recruit and how that we prospect, but what about relationship marketing of building relationships outside of our companies, building relationships with mentorships, building relationships with people who could actually make you a better leader? And that's what we're doing on this call right here. Is we're every individual week we have, in my opinion, people I respect. I respect you too. And the people that I respect, I bring on this webinar. I'm not going to bring someone on this webinar that I think that really can't offer something to the audience that we have. I want people that I know have value, integrity, solidity, that they have something that is more solid than just an ego or a narcissistic world in which they live in. That's what I want on these calls. So where are we at? How many mentors do we have? You and I both have a lot of mentors, don't we?
We do.
How many people have we absorbed from because we were willing to socialize and sit down and have dinners and just rub shoulders with friends that are all over our industry? Isn't that amazing how much that will do for you and build you to where you need to be? What have you learned from that?
Well, I will say that there's been three. I'm very analytical when I come to things. Like I told you earlier, we noticed right away the observance of having supportive spouses, because I think that if you're going to do anything, you have to educate yourself first so that you can understand what it takes to be successful. And there's been three major things that I feel like I've observed, and I think Travis will agree on these three things. We've talked about it before. You might have a couple more to add, but number one, becoming a student of the industry. Number two, growing yourself and always reaching and growing, reading books. Try to find mentors, either indirect through books or direct is better. And number three would be, and I think this one has been super beneficial, is what you're talking about, is going outside of the box, going outside of our initial companies and being willing to socialize and getting to know and doing that on purpose. Being and searching for other mentors who have had experiences that you haven't had, who have learned on purpose. And I felt like as soon as we started doing that and adding that, I felt like that was a huge boost in our business. It was a huge boost in our learning. I felt like we grew more as a couple, we grew more individually, and I felt like our business grew in turn as well.
Well, we met you, Jef. The perfect example of.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Tell us about entrepreneur life. Tell us about one of your dreams that is coming to fruition right now, because you're passing on mentorship, right? You're passing on the ability to lead.
Well, for me, I have found great fulfillment in contribution, making a difference in other people's lives. I discovered inside of the network marketing space a true passion for teaching and mentoring. And through all of our experiences, Summer and I have owned businesses for the last 20 years. I mean, we've owned all kinds of different businesses. And we feel like those experiences have allowed us to be able to have a perspective and a certain amount of value that we can offer somebody that's maybe just coming into entrepreneurship for the first time. And I think that, they always say there's no shortcuts to success. Well, I don't agree with that. I believe that, there is a shortcut to success, and that is learning from someone else that has what you have. It's what we're talking about. It's that mentorship, right? If I can help you to avoid the pitfalls and trial and errors that most people go through when they're first starting out in business, then to me, that is what I would describe as a life hack, right? How can we optimize a situation, and how can we we learn from someone else and stand on the shoulders of someone who's already been through what we've experienced. And for Summer and I, probably the greatest influence on our success that we've had as entrepreneurs is by surrounding yourself with the right people. We met you, Jef, when we were on a cruise, and we were there on purpose. Like, that was networking on purpose for Summer and I. We made a conscious decision on our 10th anniversary to go on the MLM cruise, out of all places. Why? Number one, because I could write it off. Number two, because I could rub shoulders with all of these people that had what I wanted in life. And some of the best friendships that I have today came out of that cruise. But to me, over the next 5-6 years is really where Summer and I have blossomed, and I contribute a large majority of that to the wisdom that I've gained from mentorship. So Entrepreneur Life and Entrepreneur University, what we're creating is an entire online program with many different courses like how to become a power couple. How do you build a business as a husband and wife? That's one of our courses. Social media, how to develop instant rapport, and to be able to, Summer and I have sponsored over 500 people on social media in our career. How have we done that? There's skills that you have to learn. So we're developing different courses, and it's just something that's been a passion and a vision that we've had for a very long time, and it's coming to fruition this year. So we're really excited about it.
That's excellent, and we want to learn more about it. And once you get it to a certain place to where you're ready to promote it and ready to do whatever, we want to actually help do that. We want to help promote it on these webinars. Now, Travis, we don't have much time. Summer, we don't have much time, but you guys have known me for a while. You've seen the good and the bad and the ugly and the beautiful about Jef Welch, and I know that. My nickname in Japan is Ubakatare, or it means big asshole. So obviously, I have probably earned that title, and but yet people do know that even though that I'm probably tough and I'm probably straight to the jugular sometimes, I still like to have a good time, and I still love the people that are in my organization and my team and the people that are in the industry. And I do have a certain demeanor about me. I have my flaws. I think it's important that all of us recognize our flaws and recognize who we are, and actually use that to benefit who we can be, instead of being something we're not, right? And I've seen you two. You two are a perfect example. Even though you have followed so many people, gained wisdom from people, been mentored from people, and you still are Travis and Summer. You still are who you are. That's important. That's one of the things that, when I look at you two, I have a proud spot here in my heart. You know what I mean? I really do. I have a proud spot in my heart because I really do care about you two. You have no idea how much I care about you two. Mario is our moderator. I care about Mario because Mario and I have been from Russia to you name it together. The guy is he's like a little brother, big brother sometimes, but he's like family, like a brother from another mother. You two have no idea behind the scenes how emotionally driven Jef Welch is, how I'm a guy from the heart. I'm a guy that lives from the heart. You two are very, very cherished by me. I want you to know that. And
thank you, Jef.
I want us to end this call with something. I want us to say something here. How important is it? And we talked about personality, not taking that personality away from our spouse, making sure that their character is not taken away and their personality is not taken away. There's their individualism still there. Not taking that individualism away from our leadership and giving leadership away. Being able to mentor others and to rise others up. But friendships, we've all created our friendships. I love the way we absorb from each other in our industry, and I really appreciate that. In just a few words here at the end of this call, can you give us a picture, good piece of advice for this group of people listening? What would you tell everyone in relation to if I or anyone else listening were important to you? Because most of the time we surround ourselves with people who are important to us, right? If you're talking to someone who is very important, it's not a cold call, why would you want them to be in the business that you're in? Why would you want them to be in network marketing? Why would you want them to enter into this world that we're in? Because any of us that's been in this industry long enough, it's like a love-hate relationship.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, you said
right?
it. Yeah.
It's like an addiction. Once you get in, you start making money. It's an addiction. It's like a love-hate relationship. So as we're reaching out to that person we truly care about, and you really want them to be part of it, my angle is I want them to be part of it so I can spend more time with them, enjoying life with them. That's my angle. That's my angle. Not just to bring them into the industry and just leave them to the wolves, because there's plenty of wolves in our industry. But what would you do? You've got a brother. Say I'm your brother. What would you tell me? Would you tell me to get out? Marketing?
Well, actually, my brother now does network marketing full time, and we were the ones who brought him in. And actually, my mother and my stepfather are now involved in network marketing. And for me, Travis is always good at wrapping things up. So for me, the reason was because I saw what they were doing at the time, and I know their potential, I know their gifts and their talents. And for me, I knew they would have so much to offer the industry, and that they had the talent and the ability to be so successful and not be one of those wolves, be one of the good guys, be one of the guys that could help change people's lives. And of course, I wanted the opportunity to be able to work with them, because I think that would be so much fun. It was so much fun. It is so much fun. And travel together and do all the fun things, even the crazy ones you're talking about, the crazy hotels and the extravagant hotels, just those moments you're talking about. Who wouldn't want to have the people that you care about involved in building and making those moments that you were talking about, Jeff?
I just didn't want to have to pay for their stuff and all the trips anymore, so I wanted them to get in. No, I'm just teasing you. No, here's what I would tell them. The time that we have spent in network marketing, the 10 years that we've been in this industry, Summer and I've become a better person. Yeah. I've become a better person. Like, the personal development and the people that I've surrounded myself with have inspired me to go so much further. And, as a result of who I am becoming still today, I'm a better father than I was before I came into network marketing. I'm a better husband than I was before I came into network marketing. And I believe I'm an overall better friend, a better person. And I really, I get the chills even saying this. I genuinely believe that this industry has helped me it's given me so much. I mean, I almost get emotional talking about it. It's given me a lot. And as a result of that, I want other people to experience that. And notice, I'm not talking about money. Like, the money is just a byproduct of who you become in the process and who you help along the way. The money is a byproduct of those two things. What I'm talking about is that what life is really all about, right? And it's that personal growth. And I have experienced so much of it here. And I know that every person that I care about would get that same type of fulfillment in their own way by being a part of this industry. So that's what I would say.
Excellent. Well, I'm about to go to Japan and then Korea and some other places, and I just wish you guys were tagging along just so we could have some great times. I miss you guys. I look forward to seeing you again. And maybe when you're in Orlando next time, I'll be at home and won't be traveling, and we'll actually be able to grill out some steaks and have a great time together. Well, Mario, I appreciate you for being the moderator of our call tonight.
I have a question, ma'am, if that's all right.
I'm going to end the call with Yes, yes, please, Mario.
We
Go
just
ahead.
have a few minutes here, but it's a question that I get often. And first of all, Travis and Summer, I've loved many of the things that you've said tonight, and I appreciate that. Appreciate your time. I loved what you said about serving versus selling. One of the things that you touched on for a second, and I'd love it if you can share some details what you do, and that is the social media tips. You said you've had many signups through social media. I get that question a lot also from people in my group. We just have a few minutes, but what are some of the things that you do on social media to set you apart?
Well, I think that we could spend an hour on this topic, but a couple of the key things would be.
Well, maybe
I don't
would you be willing to come back and be our guest?
Of course. Anytime,
would you be willing
Jeff,
to come back and be our guest if we were to announce a call on social media?
Sure. Anytime. We love being here. I would just tell you that it's all about adding value. It really is. It's about adding value. I think that there's too much of. There's too many people that are out there that are they're putting out their product. They're talking about their product constantly. They're talking about the facts and the details of their company. And I think that they are missing the ability to actually connect. And the way that we connect through social media, Mario, is through authenticity. And I think that there's too many people on social media pretending to be something that they're not, or trying to pretend to be what they think that success is supposed to look like. And so there's a disconnect there. And I think that the true key, the one best thing I could give you about social media is if you can truly be authentic, and transparency is important too. Summer and I let people see into our lives and see what it's like to have a crazy, hectic family of 5. And we also let people see us with our hair down and let people know that they're, that we're real. And then adding value, putting out a positive, encouraging, inspirational type of vibration. I think there's so much negativity in the world. I was just looking through the news feeds and I'm so tired of all of listen, I get political and I'm passionate about my feelings too, but I just think people, there's so much negativity out there that what are you doing to be inspiring and encouraging and uplifting and adding value into somebody's life? So those are some of the basic tips, but be transparent and let people know who you really are. Summer and I have really worked hard on social media at letting people feel. We want people to feel like they know us and they know our family. We want people to feel like they know the Flahertys. And there's different strategies and ways that we've done that. We've used Periscope and other tools and video to make people feel like they really are a part of our lives. Our pregnancy reveal video, we released a video to let, when we wanted people to feel like they were in on the exciting news. That's all, we do a lot of that stuff on purpose. So those are just some quick tips, and we can put together another call where I think we could probably nail down on a lot of this stuff.
Yes, I think we absolutely should. Jeff, what do you think if we do another call on social media and have Travis and Summer again for that?
I think we will. We'll announce this. We can announce a special call, and what we'll do is we'll take Travis and Summer, and maybe we'll have a compilation of a board of different ones that are excellent experts on social media, and we'll just have a panel. I think that would be great.
That would be fun.
You guys just inspired a future video, and this is going to be a great video that will go everywhere. It'll be shared on social media everywhere. That's exactly what's going to happen.
And I actually asked that question.
Well, we value the listeners, and
Go ahead, Jeff.
Do what?
I said I actually asked that question because
we value the listeners.
I saw a video that you did, Travis, and you were on the beach, and it was very inspiring. And so, a lot of people want to learn how to do things like that and be inspiring to others, and you mentioned that you've had many signups through social media. So absolutely, I think it'd be a good call to have for another occasion.
I totally agree. That was a great question.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I know I'm in a hotel up in the mountains in the middle of the wherever, and I probably have a delay on my voice, and I've noticed it all the way through the call tonight, but I'm sure everyone will be able to get through it when they start listening to the recording. Now, next week, I have a big announcement. We have Richard Brooks is going to be our guest next week. I'm excited about having Richard. You're talking about two blunt guys on a call at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to go, but it's going to be like we'll be reaching through the computer, strangling each other. So it's going to be fun. The guy is just an amazing guy. Travis, won't you say a few words about Richard Brooke?
Richard's one of my heroes. I think that Richard is one of the guys that I admire, I look up to. I think that he's one of the grandfathers of our profession. I think that he's an ambassador to the profession. I think that he stands for integrity, honor, character. I think that the guy brings so much wisdom to the table, and he's one of my favorite speakers. I mean, talk about just being able to captivate someone with his stories. And his dry, but this dry sense of humor, but yet it's so funny. So I think that I wouldn't miss it for the world. I mean, I look forward to watching that. I think that Richard is the epitome of what this industry is all about. And I think that you guys are in for a big treat next week.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. This is the smorgasbord of the leadership and network marketing all coming together and us having a great time sharing with leadership in our industry of exactly what needs to be done. And it's all about a systematic approach. That's what our focus is, and that's what our common denominator is. Systematic approach. It's not shooting from the hip. It's not just going out there whimsically and doing your business, but it's actually having a system, a step-by-step defined, well laid out system so that no one is left wondering what to do. Now, we're repeating certain things. If you have 100 people in your organization and you have an average of 4 weeks of procrastination per person, that's 400 weeks of procrastination. That's equal to almost 8 years of loss. No one can afford that. So it's important that we have good leadership passing on what to do. If you have leaders in your organization, brand new people in your team that are asking, what do I do next? We're doing something wrong. We must be active, proactive, not passive. It's not for us to wait for someone to ask us what to do. It's up to us to well train them and define their actions. Action, traction, rank advancement, prosperous positioning. It's important that we follow a system. Thank you. This is Jef Welch. Our featured guests tonight were Travis and Summer Flaherty. It's such a pleasure to have you on board. And our awesome partner in the crime of network marketing, Mario Brown. Mario knows everything about me, and I know everything about Travis. And Travis knows everything about me. The most dangerous trio there is right here.
And I feel like I know Travis, but I've never met him in person. So
there you go. No, Travis is a guy that has the heart bigger than the moon. I'm gonna tell you what. And the one thing that I respect about Travis, Summer, I know we're going over 5 minutes. Listen to this.
Okay.
Travis loves his wife. He loves his wife more than you can ever imagine. I mean, it's one thing to see them together, but Travis, outside of your presence, thinks that you are a goddess from some other world.
She's my secret weapon, Jeff.
Travis, and I respect that about Travis. I really do, and I want you to know that. Anyway, thank you, everyone. God bless you. Sustained Prosperity System call. It's awesome for everyone to be on this call with us tonight. Hope you've learned something. Pass it on. Share the video if it's been sent to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Summer.
Good night.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us. It was a pleasure. Mario, it was very nice to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you, Travis. And thank you, Summer, for joining us. All right. Have a good night.
See you soon, Jeff. Love you, brother. Take care.